Testing. Check 1, 2. all started about 5 years ago, where the first camp that we had after the first year was at Gannon University. And, you know, the vision at that time, I know after speaking with a lot of my staff back there, that it was always a dream to possibly have a camp that would be reflective of what police officers truly do. And quite honestly, we're actually out there in the community trying to look for the future leaders of the city of Erie. So with that being said, you know, this first academy class that these cadets here have been so honored to be a part of, I'd like to say that this selection process took place for a couple of months. The good news is I've known every one of these kids for approximately 4 to 5 years, so we had a pretty good assessment when we wanted to start the Junior Police Academy as to who our leaders were, not just during camp, not just during POW Day, but throughout the year in the classrooms, in the community, you know, in addition to listening to mom and dad or grandma or grandpa. And when I say that I have a great relationship and a very close relationship with all of these kids, I mean, that's an understatement. So, you know, and if you look over to your left, these are a part of our team, and this is only a small fraction because there's a lot of moving parts that go in with this program. And like I was telling the kids before I got in here today, that I get a lot of recognition for this program, but at the end of the day, you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. And these officers and these teachers have been with me from day one, year one, and they believed in the vision, they believed in the program, and more importantly, they believed in the kids. So I'd like to thank my staff that is here in attendance, and we have over 77 officers between the Sheriff's Department, District Attorney's Office, Gannon University PD, with the addition of Erie County Juvenile Probation that is currently now actively working with POW. So again, there's a lot of moving parts that go into this program, and out of 550 to 600 kids that are in this program actively, these lucky 16 cadets were the ones that were selected throughout the last 4 to 5 years. So I'm very proud of these kids, and you know, they've been pushed all week, and the whole goal was to not only give them a sneak peek about what police officers do, but what comes with that. So we didn't shy away from showing them a lot of the actual realities of the job that police officers go through every day, every shift. So with that being said, the class originally started off with 18 cadets, and I think this is really important to mention. Started off with 18 cadets, but we wound up with 16 because, you know, a couple of the kids, good kids, we had to tell them they had to reapply next year just because they couldn't make it the first day. And these kids knew right from the door all year that it was going to be a commitment. So they, you know, they really had to commit themselves. They had to be there every day. And they found out this week that not only you don't take a day off, you don't take an hour off. So I'm very proud. We raised the bar for each and every one of these cadets all week, and I'm very proud that these young minds here are going to be the future of this police department. And I told them all, you know, the day that I retire someday, I better see all their faces up here raising their right hand. So that's the end-all long game. And parents, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because these, I mean, they're just outstanding, you know, young ladies, young men here that are going to drive this city and continue to push it forward. So with that being said, on Monday, our schedule, just so people have a general idea of what we did all week, we met every morning in front of the police memorial right out here on South Park Row. You know, we paid our respects to the following officers, not only from the City of Erie Police Department through the years, but we also paid our respects to the officers that lose their lives across the country every day, which was followed up by the Pledge of Allegiance, at which point that we ate breakfast, and then we essentially briefed about what we were going to do that day. So the first day, we were right at it. We took the kids, loaded the buses, went out to Mercyhurst Northeast Police Academy to give them a quick taste of the real thing. So that day, you know, the director of the academy, Bill Hill, gave him a great introduction of what it was like to be a police officer and explained that whole process to them on how to achieve and get into the police academy. That same morning, each one of these cadets got to go into the class and actually shadow a cadet for one of their TAC Med classes, and they were blown away, that class and the instructors, with some of the questions that these cadets asked the instructors and the cadets out at the academy. And then in the afternoon, which was interesting, they put all the kids in a simulator they called the VR machine, to where we basically got to control the environment, where it gave them the most realistic idea of giving them different scenarios of what it's like. You know, one of the scenarios, they had to go in and you know, have dialogue with a homeless guy who was refusing to leave the business, and so we put them in circumstances like that to see where they're at with verbally diffusing the situation. So, and then they had a few other scenarios, and it was a lot of fun watching them work their way through, you know, verbal de-escalation, and to see how they were react in a situation like that. And every single one of them started off walking the plank. They know what that means, and then jumping off the plank and seeing how far they can fall. So that was a good day. It was a great first day. We had lunch, and then we came home. On Tuesday was our courthouse day, where just when you didn't think that the first day could get any better, we spent the day over at the courthouse. We met roll call over at the Erie County Sheriff's Department, and spent that session with Sheriff John Loomis and Marty Davis, who gave these guys a pretty good snapshot on what the Sheriff's Department does. And then from there, we went to the District Attorney's office, met with Assistant District Attorney Elizabeth Hertz, Detective Ann Stein, and Detective Jen Nolan, who gave them quite a presentation on what it's like to investigate from a district attorney's standpoint. And they also met Chief Detective Mark Schau. After lunch, the Honorable Judge John Trisilla was gracious enough to have Powell in our academy class in his courtroom, at which point he spent an hour with the kids. And the only reason why it took an hour is because these guys had great questions for Judge Trisilla throughout that whole hour. He was blown away, and he was presiding over a homicide trial in the county, and he kind of, you know, he couldn't get away from these guys because they were asking him such great questions. Then from there, we went up to juvenile probation, met with the chief of juvenile probation, and then we ended our day, get this, in the Erie County Coroner's office, which was pretty cool. They got to spend the rest of their afternoon with Coroner Lau Cook. And I remember Coroner Cook saying, hey, did these guys get a little queasy, a little uneasy? And I'm like, nah, they can handle it, you know. So Shabilsky, he walks in there like he's going up to the counter to order a loaf of bread. We go in there on the autopsy table, and he walks in there, just props himself down there, and he didn't care. He was going to order a sandwich. But what was pretty cool was, you know, Coroner Cook, you know, he took the time, explained that whole process of forensic pathology and death investigations from the perspective of the coroner's office. And I think that these cadets know about every body part in your body, because it was a little show and tell session. Some cadets left, but most stayed. So that was pretty cool. So on Wednesday, we came here. It was the first time that they were over here at City Hall. Met with Captain William Marucci, captain of our patrol division, Deputy Chief John Nolan, our field training coordinator, Sergeant Jeff Falutz. We had a mock roll call, and then we started introducing them to patrol functions and what it is that we do. Wednesday, we kind of pivoted a little bit, where we took the kids out for a community service project, to where we went out throughout the city of Erie, 4 different locations, 3 of them involving parks throughout the city where we knew that there were going to be kids there, and then one was an actual elderly assisted living center. for the elderly, and they distributed ice cream to all the kids throughout the city. And with the SBCP Council, and you'll hear a little bit about that with Michael Outlaw. Then on Thursday, we started the day off. We met with Deputy Chief Rick Laura, who is the Deputy Chief of our Criminal Investigation Division. Then we were scheduled that day to actually meet with a couple major crimes detectives, but unfortunately, there were a few serious incidents that happened throughout the city the previous day, so those guys were tied up. So we actually took the kids, we used that as an opportunity for a teaching moment. We took them up to a homicide scene. They weren't on the homicide scene, but we were half a block away from the homicide scene, at which point we were explaining the process and the protocol from what patrolmen do, what their role and function is, up to the supervisor, to our criminal investigation division, to our ID unit division. And we were up there for quite a bit because, again, these guys had great questions. From there, we met with our vice and narcotics unit on Thursday, and we met with the commander of our SWAT team, who gave the kids a great dialogue presentation on what it is that SWAT does and what their role is. Then we ended out the day going over what police cruisers are, how they operate, and it was explained to them all the many different types of functions that our police cars, and not just the patrol car, but other vehicles down that we utilize as a department. And then we come to today, which, you know, right out of the door, right in the morning, we have a couple SWAT team members that are on our POW staff who took the kids down to our Bearcat, which is our armored vehicle, and showed them all the equipment that is in that Bearcat, and they actually got to go out into the community a little bit and went for a ride in the Bearcat. Then from there, they met with Lieutenant Chris Janis, who explained to them the whole body cam process, what they are, why it's important for police officers to have them. In addition to explaining to them our CVSA, which is a fancy word for saying lie detector machine. So they got quite an education there. And then they toured City Hall, which you would have thought that would have been the first thing we did, but it wasn't on the priority list. We had to get all this stuff in. So at the end of the day, and here we are now, which is the most important part of the whole camp this week, very proud to say that we are the only POW chapter in the nation that has done a junior police academy. So I think Erie and you kids have basically, you know, set the tone for what other POW chapters, you know, want to do across the country. So with that being said, that was our schedule for the week. I promised I wouldn't be long. These guys are laughing. So what I want to do is I want to bring up Mayor Joe Schember. He wants to say a few words to the cadets.
Thank you, Sergeant Lennox, very much. I really appreciate it. You know, this would not exist. This program, our Police Athletic League, would not exist without Sergeant Tom Lennox. Can we please give Sergeant Lennox a big round of applause? Thank you. I also want to thank all our other police officers, and there's police officers from other areas as well that are part of this. I think there's like 82 police officers involved, something like that, with this whole program. And it's incredible how it's grown. I fully support it and encourage Sergeant Lennox and all the officers to continue this, because you 16 young people are getting to know police officers as people, because they are people. You know, they're not just the uniform and not just enforcing the law, not just shooting people or stuff like that. You know, they're real people, they're good people, and I know all of you are thinking about maybe becoming a police officer when you grow up, and I encourage you to continue to do that, because one of the things I like about this group of 16 is the diversity that exists here. We've got men, women, we've got people of color. You know, this is what we want our police force to look like. One of the things I'm going to give you when you come up to get your diplomas and everything is a pin, just like the pin I've got on here. You'll each get one of these. They look exactly like that big seal up there. So, you know, it says Seal of the City of Erie. And April 14th, 1851 is the date that the City of Erie was founded. Okay, so we're, about 160 years from that right now. And there are things going on in Erie right now that have never occurred before. And I could probably name a lot of different things, but the only one I want to mention is we've got this federal money coming in now. It's $76 million. In the life of the city's never got that much. And it probably will never happen again. So not in a human lifetime, but in a city lifetime, we're getting more money right now than we ever did. The purpose of this money is to help the people in Erie who were impacted by COVID-19, especially those who were most impacted. And that tends to be people of color, to be very honest, who are impacted at 2 to 3 times the rate as white people were. So right now we're taking input. We're not going to make any decisions for a month or two. We're just taking input about how can we use this money, how can we want to raise the whole city of Erie to a higher level so that we don't have people that are hungry, people that can't find a job. That's what we're looking to do with this money. We're still trying to figure out how to do that and really kind of transform Erie. And what the 16 of you did over the last week is a major step in that direction as well. Because I don't believe ever, Sergeant Lennox, that we've had kids go through a program like this. And as you said, nowhere else in the nation has done this. So this is a huge step, and I'm very happy and honored to be part of this today. And I've gotten to see all of you a couple times. We've run into each other, spent some time talking. I think, did you guys all get a pen from me? Is there anybody that didn't get a pen? Okay, if you didn't get one, I would be sure to give you one today. But you'll all get one of these pins to wear today as well. So I'm very honored and happy to be with you today. Look forward to shaking all your hands when you come up and giving you one of your pins. So Sergeant Lennox, do you want to come back up? Thanks very much, everybody.
Okay, next I want to introduce Chief Dan Spizzarni. And I failed to mention, and we talk about leadership all the time, every day, probably ad nauseum. But the reality is a program like this exists if the mayor of your city, the chief of your police department doesn't get behind a program like this. So we have the right leaders running this city right now. And the dream and the vision is what made this all of a reality. So Chief Dan Spizzarni, he's got a pretty tough job, and I know that there's a lot of moving parts when trying to get these officers, as many officers that we have. And I know Chief John Nolan, we have weekly discussions on what it's going to look like and how that's going to work. But they always manage the same, to make it happen because they believe in the importance of this program. So Chief Spizzarni is going to come up and say a couple words for us, please. Give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon and welcome, parents. You've got some great kids. I was on vacation this week, so I didn't get to spend any time except a few minutes at lunch here today. I'm still on vacation, but I told the kids I wasn't going to miss this. This is the first camp that we've done like this, and these are the first kids that have been selected for it. I'm very proud of them. I know the teachers and the officers have been dealing with them all week. Maybe the last year, 2 years, 3 years that they've been involved in the program. They really are the best. I do hope that maybe one or two of them does decide to become a police officer in the future. But whether they become a police officer or not, we talked about this, that the whole country needs leaders. Leaders that are going to do the right thing all the time, be good in their field, whatever they choose. Just in this past week, you learned how many people that police officers count on and rely on. It's not just about the police officers. You met detectives, you met the coroner's office, you met judges, you met the staff at the courthouse, you met the staff down at the police academy. There's a whole host of different jobs that all come back to help the police do what we do. So whatever you choose for your future, choose to be a leader. Thank you.
Okay, next I want to introduce Community Liaison Michael Outlaw.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Before I deliver my speech, I must first acknowledge Mayor Schimber. Mayor Schimber, it is because of your vision for Erie and leadership that we are standing here today. I've read somewhere that without a vision, the people perish. But you, sir, have made your vision and mission clear for the city of Erie. So we say thank you. A round of applause, please. Another reason, like Sergeant Lennox alluded to, is the command staff that you selected to lead the Erie Police Department. Chief Spazzarni, Deputy Chief John Nolan, Inspector Mike Nolan, Deputy Chief Rick Lower, and Captain Marucci. It is because of their commitment to your mission and vision of community policing and diversity that we stand here today. And for that, we say thank you. Thanks to Sergeant Tom Lennox and his team for their unwavering selflessness, dedication, and commitment to ensuring the future of the Erie Police Department reflects the community. Every day that these officers put on the uniform, they accept the risk and rewards of being an officer. And today is an example of the fruits of their labor. Thank you and your officers for pouring to these cadets and revealing to them the heart and soul and showing them the other side of what it means to protect and serve. So to you officers, we say thank you as well. Next, to the parents and the guardians that allowed your children to participate in the City of Erie Junior Police Academy. As a parent of 4 children myself, ages 8 through 17, I understand the faith, courage, and trust it takes to leave your loved ones with individuals that's out of our home. So thank you, parents, for trusting the officers and this administration with your precious children. Thank you, parents. And finally, to our true heroes of the hour, the first inaugural City of Erie Junior Police Academy class of 2021. A round of applause because you made it, all right? You made it because of your dedication, determination, discipline to reach your destination. And so today's speech is titled, Dedicated to Your Vision. The definition of dedication is the quality of being dedicated or committed to a task or purpose. As cadets, your purpose was to experience what it takes to become a police officer and all the intricacies that comes with the career. So before I continue, let me tell you a secret. We all like secrets, right? We like secrets? Yeah, okay. Well, I think we all like secrets. So here's a secret. This is from John Maxwell. John Maxwell says, the secret of your success is determined by your daily goals. Again, the secret of your success is determined by your daily goals. So allow me to give you some jewels that you can set every day in your lives. The first one is you must have determination. Determination is a firmness of purpose, resoluteness. My advice to you all is once you enter into high school, please enroll in the JROTC program. The program will add to what you've been taught during the PAL camp, as well as during the academy. The purpose of the program, it builds character, integrity, and it gets you accustomed to putting on a uniform and having what it takes to become a leader in our community. Another jewel, be disciplined. It takes discipline. Discipline is the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior. So play sports, eat healthy, stay physically fit. Don't be like my kids, when they're not in PAL. They're at home on these iPads and tablets and cell phones for countless hours. Don't do that, all right? Stay outside, stay active, and stay healthy. Or you can do what myself and Sergeant Waite does and Kishon does. We play golf, right? Beautiful sport, best game in the world. Now, here's something I want you to be mindful of and to watch out for. It's called division. Watch out for division. Divisions is the action of separating something into parts, or the process of being separated. Watch out for people, places, and things that attempts to keep you from reaching your vision or destination. Watch out for bad advice. Watch out for haters. You know what haters are, right? Watch out for the haters. Stay away from drugs. Do well in school. Listen to your parents or your guardians. And we know that y'all think that we don't know what we're talking about. We know that y'all think y'all got all the answers. But nonetheless, listen to your parents or guardians. We've been there. We learned a thing or two. And if you trust us in our words, you too will be successful, and you will have to endure less unnecessary hardships. And finally, destination. Destination is the place to which someone or something is going to be sent. You are on the road to an honorable career and noble career, one that you can be proud of and make your family and community proud. Next, if I could have Sergeant Sigzorik come to the stage, please. And her name is Naila, please. I'm going to do a demonstration on what it takes to reach your goal. So, you want to become a police officer, right? So, she's your vision. So, no matter what comes your way, you keep your eyes on the vision, right? So, what happens is this. Oftentimes, when we don't have a vision, we have nothing to go towards, right? So now because you see her as your vision, if it's hardship, stay focused, right? If you hit some low valleys, stay focused. No matter what occurs in your life, you keep your eyes on the vision, because that gives you power in the now to reach your destination, all right? Determination, discipline will help you get to your destination, all right? Thank you very much. Thank you, Sergeant. In closing, you made it. You should be proud of yourselves. I know it wasn't easy. I know Sergeant Lennox and his officers made it tough at times, but the lessons you learned will remain with you for the rest of your life. Congratulations again to the first inaugural Junior Police Academy class of 2021.
Okay, so much for keeping this short, but I love it. You guys deserve it. You deserve all the attention that you're getting right now. So What I'd like to do next is I want to put the focus on the graduates of our first junior academy. So would all the officers please come up front with me from POW and teachers? The awesome thing about doing what we do in this program in POWs is not only do we know every little individual thing about each and every one of these cadets, unfortunately, no, I'm saying fortunately, Mackay, they know everything about us. Even when you tell them for years hey, I've been 25 or 26 years old for the last 5 years, and Mackay, being the investigator that she is, we brought her to City Hall, and one of my fellow officers threw me under the bus, so I can't say I'm 25 anymore, so, okay. But, no, in all seriousness, though, the wonderful thing about doing what we do, I got kids myself, and sometimes, when I'm at home, I think this week I might have gotten maybe 10 or 12 calls from these guys here, and it's a lot of fun to hear what's going on in the world when they're not in the program. For example, we have a young lady that could not make it. She's a graduate, Isaiah Rayford. Please keep, her family in your thoughts and prayers. She lost her grandfather on the way to Pittsburgh last night, and that was a tough phone call. So, but at the end of the day, my point is these kids, these cadets, they know that they can count and rely on anybody up here and then some standing on this stage if they ever have any type of issues or problems or obstacle that they don't think that they could overcome. So that's what makes me most proud about doing this program. And they hear from all of us. It only takes one person in your life to believe in you before you even believe in yourself sometimes, and they know that we all believe in them. So with that being said, my plan was to give an individual story about every person, but we'll just lump it all together. Every single cadet that's coming up here, they all have that fabric and the ingredients, and police work is in their DNA. I mean, that's something that you just can't make that up. You can train to be a good police officer, or you can come to this job with those ingredients and that fabric, that empathy and compassion for people. Parents, guardians, you're blessed that your son and daughter, they have that now, and that's what we all see in them, which is why that they were chosen. And finally, it's the reason why that they're going to be the graduates today of this first junior academy. So what we're going to do is I'm going to call each and every one of you up here one by one. You're going to shake all the officers' hands. You're going to shake the mayor's hand, who's going to hand out those pins. And what's rule number one with the bags? Yes. They were specifically instructed, do not open the bags until you get home. All right, so our first graduate, Zaria Jones. Our next Junior Police Academy graduate, Marie Dewey. Our next graduate, Alejandro Miranda. Our next graduate, although she blew my cover, Mackay Ramsey. Keep sliding down. Our next Junior Police Academy graduate, Eliza Figueroa. Did I get it right, Lise? Hey, Lise, did I get that right? Did I get it right finally? I always get a tongue twister when I say her name. And this kid put me on the spot because I've spelled his last name wrong for 5 years. He told me to spell his name yesterday, and we did it for 50 push-ups, and I got it wrong. So, William Shabilsky. Our next graduate, Nathan Zamansky. Proud of you, kid. Our next graduate, Mr. Outlaw, she is enrolled in the junior ROTC, Phoenix Yulee. Our next graduate, my bestie, Angelise Lopez. Congratulations, honey. And the reason why I said my bestie, they're all my besties, but that's what she says all the time, my besties. She's everybody's bestie. Our next graduate, Abigail Hawkins. Our next graduate, Amaya Reed. Congratulations. Our next graduate, and I love his first name, Matthias Armstrong. Congratulations. Our next graduate, Jason Harris. Good job, Matthias. There you go. Our next graduate, Naila Speedy Crawford. Okay, there are two graduates that couldn't make it. We talked about Isaiah Rayford, but I want to congratulate her. And our next graduate, she couldn't attend because congratulations, girl. She couldn't come because I think the day we were out with the fire trucks, with the ice cream truck, she wouldn't get out of the water. Wouldn't get out of the water. So she wound up sick and couldn't be here today. So Hala Aldawan, congratulations. You want to give Hala a round of applause? All right, very last thing that we're going to present, and I want to say this, make no mistake about it, one of the best things that we do up here is to be able to provide, good leadership to the kids, and I tell them this all the time, they're doing as much good for us officers as we could ever give them. The thing I admire about this group is we've had this discussion. One day we forced each other, and we were calling them out. Hey, what's Lisa's name? Who is that? Who's his sister? Where do they live? What's her phone number? Which school? Those kinds of things. Because at the end of the day, these guys got to take care of each other, and that's what the expectation is. So when one of these kids are going through something, they need to rely on each other and lean on each other to help get them through some of those obstacles that life might present them. So they definitely know that. Now, at the beginning of the week, all these kids were assigned a field notebook. Actually, what police officers, it's a requirement when you're going out on scenes. or any type of call that we get. It's common practice. You'll see a police officer pull out his notepad just to, take some general information. So throughout the week, they were required to document every single day, every single session, every single thing that they learned. Now, this person that I'm about ready to announce, she writes better field notes than probably a lot of our police officers. It was crazy. I mean, the detail of this individual. But in my mind, all of these kids here, in my opinion, would be considered police cadet of the week because they're all leaders. But this particular person went above and beyond all week. When I read her notes, I was blown away with the questions just this person asked all week. Some of you probably saw her on the news a few days ago, and I tell you what, I told her the very next day, no offense, Mayor, she's going to run this city someday. The sky's the limit for this young lady, and I want to announce, and this was pretty much a unanimous vote from all the officers, Naila Speedy Crawford. She got a lot of goodies. So. All right. So give it up again for Naila. So essentially, this concludes the graduation ceremony. I thank everybody for coming out to support POW, supporting your kids, supporting us officers, and supporting this city. And these kids this Thursday, we're going to have just the officers and the kids. Parents are not invited to that one. All right, where we're going to have a nice little picnic to celebrate this occasion today. So I again congratulate you guys, and we'll see you Thursday. Congratulations. That's it. Wasn't that long? Officers up here, if you don't mind.